Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're cracking open something I like to call the blueprint for connection. Because look, if you want to successfully manage construction work, you have to realize that a project isn't just built with steel and concrete. It is built on clear, undeniable information. So today we're serving up your ultimate study guide for establishing site communication processes, unpacking the CPCCBC5010 module. Let's dive right in.
Now, I want to speak directly to you, the students at Genesis International College. By the time we wrap up this explainer together, this guide is going to help you completely master the what, the why, and the how of site communication. You're not just learning theory today, you're discovering the exact frameworks you'll use to keep your future job sites safe, organized, and profitable.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're covering 4 main pillars. First, what is site communication? Second, common methods. Third, establishing the process. And fourth, managing site communication.
All right, let's jump straight into part 1. What is site communication? We're laying the foundation.
Let's ground this academic theory in reality for a second, right? On a bustling job site, effective communication is literally what relays vital announcements, reminders, and updates. Without that coordination, cranes don't lift, concrete doesn't pour, and most importantly, workers don't stay safe. It is the absolute lifeblood of moving any project forward.
So, what actually is it? Basically, communication is the process of conveying or transferring information from one person or group to another, using media like signs, symbols, and technology. It's the glue holding your entire project together, and if that glue fails, well, the whole structure fails with it.
Moving right along to part 2. Common on-site communication methods. These are the tools in your belt.
Now that we know what site communication is, how does it actually happen? As a site manager, you're not going to just be shouting across a half-built skyscraper. That doesn't work. You're going to rely on 3 primary processes every single day: emails, face-to-face verbal communication, and mobile or fixed telephone contact. Each one of these has a very specific, tactical purpose.
Take emails, for instance. What's really interesting is how we use them in construction. They are absolutely perfect for providing electronic documents or detailing complex info that might get misinterpreted if you just said it out loud. It gives you a vital paper trail. But hey, a pro tip from the field here: an email is almost always followed up with a quick phone call just to make absolutely sure everyone is on the exact same page.
And that brings us right to our next 2 methods. Face-to-face communication relies heavily on not just the words you say, but your tone, with no mediating technology getting in the way. It's fantastic for building trust. On the flip side, telephone contact is your speed dial for efficiency. It's literally the absolute fastest way to reach one or more people across a massive site instantly.
All right, on to part 3, establishing the communication process. It's time to draft the blueprint.
As you start drafting this blueprint, keep in mind that you won't just be participating in communication anymore, you will be designing it. And to do that effectively, you have to understand the flow of information. A huge part of outlining your organization's hierarchy is defining what we call lateral flow. This is the flow of information among members or between departments that are on the exact same hierarchy level. Knowing this ensures everyone understands not just who they report to, but how peer departments can interact smoothly without stepping on each other's toes.
So, how do we actually build this process? Well, there are 5 exact guidelines you need to follow. 1. Outline the communication hierarchy so information flows logically. 2. Identify the people involved, because hey, that promotes accountability. 3. Have a clear objective to serve as your guiding principle. 4. Specify the information. And 5. Document the details. Let's actually zoom in on those last 2 steps, because they are critical.
Okay, step 4 is specifying information. And honestly, this is what prevents total chaos. You need to outline exactly what information is needed by each department, how urgent and frequent it should be, the appropriate process to relay it, and the specific situations where this process even applies. Doing this ensures the right details hit the right desks exactly when they're needed.
And then there's step 5, documenting the process. Listen, establishing a process doesn't just mean making up rules. It means detailing exactly who is required to document the communication, the required format it has to take, how it's stored, and, this is a big one, how long you're required to keep it for compliance. Seriously, this is how you protect yourself and your project both legally and operationally.
So, let me throw a question your way. You've established the hierarchy, you've drafted the memorandums, you've built this totally flawless communication plan on paper. But how do you actually make it work on a muddy, loud, high-stakes construction ground?
Which leads us perfectly into part 4, managing site communication. Let's get to the build.
This is where the rubber meets the road. We're taking that established plan right out of the site office and bringing it into the actual build. Because management isn't passive. Management means actively ensuring that the communication baseline you just worked so hard to create is implemented correctly on site every single day. It's all about enforcement. You're making sure the daily reality of your crew actually matches the formal document you drafted.
And really, this highlights the ultimate goal here. When you think about the sheer scale of a construction project, all of these communication processes, from the foundational definitions of lateral flow all the way to your daily emails and site-wide phone calls, must ultimately align with your organization's overarching quality management requirements. Simply put, if your communication aligns with your quality standards, the project succeeds. It's a total game changer. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on today. As a future site manager stepping out of Genesis International College and onto a real live site, are your communication processes strong enough to hold your next project together? Take these guidelines seriously, master this blueprint for connection, and you will absolutely be ready to lead any site to success. Thanks for learning with me on this explainer today, and I seriously can't wait to see you build something incredible.